The Chicago White Sox let Tuesday night's game in Toronto get away. They had multiple chances and a realistic opportunity to tie it up and just completely blew it. Downright horrible base running in the sixth inning stalled a big White Sox rally. Silver lining was Andrew Vaughn's night at the plate. He was awesome, and we are going to need more of that in June.
You are Locked On White Sox, your daily Chicago White Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, Sox fans, welcome to Locked On White Sox. Thank you for making Locked On White Sox your first listen each and every day. We are free and available on all platforms. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Locked On Sox. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just search Locked On White Sox. Hey, today's episode is brought to you by Blue Nile. Make your moment sparkle with jewelry from BlueNile.com. And Locked On Sports listeners get $50 off purchases of $500 or more. This podcast exclusive includes engagement. Use code Locked On at checkout. Hey, I'm your host, Nick Morawski, a lifelong diehard Chicago White Sox fan, recording this podcast just blocks from the ballpark in beautiful Bridgeport. You can find me on Twitter at Nick_GGTB. I really appreciate you letting me steal some of your time to talk White Sox. Locked On White Sox is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Lucas Giolito had a rough end to his outing against the Blue Jays. Going to talk about that. And even without Tim Anderson, the Sox were able to get some offense going Tuesday night. But first, the White Sox are now under 500 and are beginning a difficult June schedule. State of your White Sox, 23-24, chasing the Twins by 5 games. Tuesday night was the 47th game, and it was the 47th different lineup. How about that? Sox lost to the Blue Jays 6-5. Absolutely let this game get away. There was a moral victory parade going on in full force on the NBC Sports Chicago postgame show. Chuck Garfien was leading that parade. I guess there was some excitement with the Sox scoring 5 runs despite no Tim Anderson, but I'm not for the moral victory. The Sox had that opportunity. They should have won that game, and we are going to get to all the problems, including that big base running situation in the 6th. Before the game, we had some information about Tim Anderson. He was placed on the 10-day IL because of that groin strain. But we're hearing, maybe you've heard this yourself or any of your digging around on social media or folks that you follow, hearing maybe 3 weeks or so. I think Tony La Russa even said it. It could be somewhere around that area. So it's not as bad as we thought. But I'm thinking maybe more of a month. But again, that's better than what I was thinking, 6 to 8 weeks. There was no Moncada in the lineup. Robert was reinstated from the COVID IL list, but he did not play. And Pollock didn't feel well. That seemed to be the report, and he did not play. So you had Danny Mendick at shortstop. You had Yasmani Grandal leading off. Let me repeat that. Yasmani Grandal led off Tuesday's game, if you didn't see that. He, lifetime going into the game, was 0 for 7 at Rogers Center up there in Toronto. Cease and Graveman did not make the trip. So here is Steve Stone on Twitter. I grabbed this post that he wrote. He was not on the telecast. It was Gordon Beckham and Jason Benetti, of course. And Steve Stone weighed in on Yasmani Grandal leading off. And this was Steve Stone's post. Maybe you saw this. Let me explain the thought process behind Grandal leading off. He isn't hitting home runs or driving in runs. He is walking. Tony is trying to maximize what he's doing best now and minimize what he's doing poorly. Whatever it works or not remains to be seen. That's the reason. We're at a point here as we enter June. There are 4 more months of baseball, and I am someone, and I have talked about it on this podcast, that just lives and dies with every single pitch. It's painful. It's how I'm wired. I've tried to break that trend. I just can't do it. I have tried to be passive about White Sox games. I can't do it. It's just who I am, and that's fine. And I live with it. And it is a roller coaster. There are so many ups and downs, twists and turns. And it's almost like a roller coaster you've never been on before. You don't know what is in store. And there's a great quote by Hunter S. Thompson, and I don't know if you're familiar with the author. He's had some interesting quotes throughout his life, and this one I find pretty meaningful regarding a baseball season, especially something that we're sitting in right now in this 2022 year where the expectations were so high and the results are not at all what we were hoping for. This is a quote from Hunter S. Thompson. No sympathy for the devil. Keep that in mind. Buy the ticket, take the ride. And then if it occasionally gets a little heavier than what you had in mind, well, maybe chalk it off to force conscious expansion. Tune in, freak out, get beaten. The part of that quote that you really should focus on is buy the ticket, take the ride. And, we all as Sox fans, we are invested in this team in this season. And in ways that we probably didn't even realize, we have bought the ticket. So just get ready to take this ride. I'm not saying you have to enjoy it. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but just we're on this. We're on this together. 4 more months, and we need guys to step up. With Tim Anderson out, they flashed a graphic in the pregame on NBC Sports Chicago with Tim Anderson. Since this is from 2020, all right? This all these numbers are from going back to 2020. With Tim Anderson in the lineup, the White Sox are 123-89, and they're averaging 4.99 runs per game. Without Tim Anderson, they are 28-28. And this is going into Tuesday night's game. 3.77 runs per game. Now that number, 3.77 runs per game, is important because even without Tim Anderson, not in the lineup, nor was Luis Robert, no Yohan Moncada, I'm going to tell you all about the surprising Sox offense, which was led by a guy that the Sox need big games from. More on that in a moment. Whether you're ready to pop the question or you're celebrating a milestone moment, find jewelry as unique as her with the modern convenience of online shopping at BlueNile.com. Blue Nile has simple online tools that will let you choose the diamond shape, size, and clarity, as well as setting size. Blue Nile's bench jewelers will then handcraft her perfect engagement ring. Each ring is one of a kind. Looking for fine jewelry, but having trouble choosing? Blue Nile has jewelry experts on hand 24/7, available via phone or chat to help you find a memorable gift at every budget. Make your moments sparkle with jewelry from BlueNile.com. And Locked On Sports listeners get $50 off purchases of $500 or more. This podcast exclusive includes engagement. Use code Locked On. That's code Locked On, LOCKEDON. Plus, every order is insured, ships free, and arrives in discreet packaging that won't give away what's inside. Shop stress-free and find your forever piece. Go to BlueNile.com today. Hey, we have an important favor to ask you. We've been putting together a survey so we can learn more about listeners like you and make your favorite Locked On podcasts even better. This is your opportunity to tell us what you like and don't like about Locked On podcasts. Go to LockedOnPodcasts.com/survey right now to get started. It won't take very long, and everyone that completes a survey can qualify for a chance to win one of 10 $100 Ticketmaster gift cards. To take our audience survey, go to lockedonpodcasts.com/survey. We really appreciate your help. Hey, let's get into the White Sox offense here. It was interesting with Kevin Gausman on the hill for Toronto. He's been really good. Didn't expect much from this White Sox team. I'm sure you were feeling the same way. I mean, we were all as a fan base, I think, pretty down after losing Tim Anderson. Didn't get a lot of information on the off day. Was waiting for news. I guess the adage for Sox fans is if you don't hear anything, well, that means it's probably even worse news. And again, it could be 3 weeks for Anderson. It sounds like, Tony La Russa was a little bit more positive than what it eventually could have been, which was, maybe 2 months, 3 months, who knows? Anyway, so you don't expect a lot of offense. I gave you the numbers of what the average runs scored for the Sox, 3.77 when Tim Anderson is not in the lineup. And Sox went over that. I'll take you to the first inning. So big opportunity for Yasmani Grandal. He's leading off. He's in that one spot. And what does he do? He strikes out. So Andrew Vaughn, who was really the talk of the game, and he has been having quite a season. Andrew Vaughn with a solo home run, his 6th of the year. He is a team leader in that category, putting the team on his shoulders. You just feel it. We need these guys. We need guys to step up and take care of business with Tim Anderson gone. Vaughn had an outstanding at-bat in the 3rd. He ripped a 2-out double. Fast forward to the 5th where things got interesting. Reese McGuire with a leadoff double against his former team. Harrison up trying to get the job done, grounded to second, and Harrison was able to get McGuire over to 3rd. Mendick, who was playing shortstop, he was up. He gets the job done with a double. Game was tied at 2. Yasmani up with 1 out. He worked a 3-0 count. Okay, and this is one of the reasons why, to Stone's point, he was in that leadoff spot because he can walk. Well, he had a 3-0 count, and he ended up striking out, which was unfortunately a theme for Yasmani Grandal on Tuesday night. So Vaughn comes up with 2 outs. He gets a base hit RBI. Sox up 3-2. That was exciting right there because Vaughn at that point was a triple away from the cycle. Big 5th inning for the White Sox. 6th inning, Sheets with a leadoff bloop single over the shortstop's head. This is the inning where things get really weird and really wild. So Sheets has this little duck snort into center field over the shortstop's head. He gets on, and then a single from Engel. So you've got runners on 2nd and 1st, nobody out. McGuire, this seems to be the revenge game for him. He hits his 2nd double of the night. It's 6-4 Blue Jays. White Sox knocking on the door. Still nobody out. Harrison up with runners on 3rd and 2nd. You've got to have a productive at-bat here. We've been talking about it forever on this podcast. You have been yelling it at the TV and talking it to other Sox fans in your life. Got to be productive with runners in scoring position. He was able to draw a walk. Okay, so you got bases loaded, nobody out. Blue Jays bringing in a new pitcher. It's that Submariner. Mendick's up. He puts something in play. Runner scores. It's 6-5 Blue Jays. Sox within 1, still just 1 out. Yaz is up, and this is where things get really interesting because unfortunately it features 2 guys that had some really good offensive nights. McGuire and Mendick were able to provide for the White Sox with the bat, and then things just got all kinds of crazy on the base paths. I mean, if you're like me, you're still scratching your head here on Wednesday morning. Like, how did that happen? Who's in charge here? I mean, was that a big league situation? So Yasmani is up, and he drives one. Finally, he gets a hold of one. Out to left field deep, almost to the warning track. And we thought, great, we got a sac fly. This is going to be easy. McGuire is trotting in. And while he's trotting in, he's kind of watching what's developing as Danny Mendick, who was on first base, is tagging up, trying to advance to second base. Well, before Reese McGuire was able to cross home plate, the Blue Jays tagged Danny Mendick out at second base. What in the world is going on? Okay, so Mendick is going to get a lot of the blame on that one because there is no reason why he needs to advance. That ball was hit deep into left field. Okay, but you, Mendick, don't really matter too much. You got Vaughn on deck. You know, he's been mashing this game. Stay where you're at. We need to tie this game. Okay. What's Daryl Boston doing at first base, by the way? I'm still trying to figure out some clarity. It seems like Mendick apologized to Tony La Russa, but what was Daryl Boston maybe saying something to Mendick like, stay on this base. You do not need to advance. Now, hey, this was probably going to be more a Danny Mendick situation, but Reese McGuire, buddy, if you watch the replay, Reese McGuire is not running full steam home. And probably to his credit, he's thinking, well, no, in no way is Danny Mendick trying to advance to second. Why would he be trying to advance? And, you know, if he was running a little harder, if he was truly hustling, I think he beats that tag slightly. That run scores and the Sox are tied up at 6. It was deflating. It was confusing. That has been, unfortunately, a theme with the Chicago White Sox team, wouldn't you say? Base running problems, whether it's Joe McEwing, you know, deciding to send people that have no chance to score, or guys, you know, just confused on the base paths. It's happened way too many times. And that Tuesday night, that issue and the 6th inning, remember that, because I just haven't seen anything quite like it in a long time. But that is the theme, right, of the 2022 White Sox season. You're going to see something different, and it's not always going to be a good thing every night. You know, a shame because, like I said, McGuire and Mendick really took care of themselves offensively, which was great. But they combined for just one of the more confusing base running situations in the 6th inning. I still don't know what role did Daryl Boston have there too. 8th inning, we had a couple threats here in the 8th and 9th. 2 outs, 2 men on in the 8th with Yasmani up, and he grounds out to end that threat. 9th inning, who else but Vaughn flops one in short center for his 4th hit of the night. Abreu up. He had a base hit. Abreu was hitting the ball well on Tuesday night. 2 on, nobody out in the 9th. Here we go. Jake Berger, the hero from Sunday, swings away at the first pitch and grounds into a double play. And then Gavin Sheets, bullish on Gavin Sheets. He strikes out to end all of that. Here is the offensive line. 5 runs, 13 hits for our Chicago White Sox, 3 for 11 with runners in scoring position, 4 extra base hits, which is nice. Yasmani Grandal in that leadoff position, 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts. Vaughn, 4 for 5, 2 RBIs, triple short of the cycle. We need more of that from Andrew Vaughn. He is going to have to carry this team offensively for a while. Lucas Giolito could just not get the job done. I'll recap his outing, and I'm going to tell you about Michael Kopech. He is coming back on the mound. More on that in a moment. Our partners at BetOnline continue to be the #1 source for all your betting needs and sports info. Find all the latest odds, news, and sports developments, including this year's basketball playoffs, Major League Baseball scores, fights, and even next season's NFL futures. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sporting wagering information, from live betting to playoffs, esports, and more. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in action. BetOnline, where the game starts. So Sox fall to the Blue Jays 6-5, and unfortunately, Giolito credited with all 6 of those runs. Coming in to Tuesday night's game, Giolito had 8 starts under his belt in 2022. He had an ERA of 2.66 for the month of May. He's been pitching well, and he was sharp at the beginning. You know, he had some traffic on the base paths, but he was getting the job done. He had that fastball working in the first inning, had a couple strikeouts, only 18 pitches. In the second, he gave up a 2-run home run to Kirk. And, it's kind of been the theme with Giolito. When things aren't going well, he gives up that early home run, whether it's the first or second inning. 2-run home run off of, I believe it was a changeup to Kirk. Allowed some action on the base paths in the third, but got out of a jam. 5 strikeouts, 50 pitches after 3. Fifth inning is where things really unraveled for Giolito. He came out with 67 pitches on the arm. Sox, previously, you got to remember in the fifth inning, top of their fifth, Sox had just scored 2 runs to take the lead. So you want to make it a quick inning, get your team right back into the dugout. But there were problems. George Springer singled. Bichette hit a ground rule double. Runners on third and second with 1 out. And you got Vlad Jr. up, and he struck out. So now you've got 2 outs, and you look like, okay, Giolito's got the magic. He might get out of this. He had Hernandez up, who had doubled already in the game, and he doubles again. He beat Giolito again. Engel tried to make a catch in left center, and boy, man, he face planted trying to make this catch. It looked like he was doing that old planking thing from a decade ago or whenever that was popular. His arm kind of got wrapped underneath his chest. He was face first on the turf. It was 4-3 Blue Jays at that point. Gio was at 91 pitches, battling, trying to put Kirk away, but he hits his second home run of the game. You just can't let him beat you again. 6-3 Blue Jays at that point. Blue Jays can score in a hurry. Gio's day was done, could not get out of the fifth. Giolito gave up 4 runs with 2 outs and let Kirk beat him twice in the game. Not good. His final line, 4 2/3 innings, 8 hits, 6 earned runs, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts, 2 home runs. He threw 99 pitches. Giolito's got an ERA now of 3.61. Lopez came in after Giolito, was able to minimize the damage getting out of that inning. He pitched pretty well when he had an opportunity. There was some threats, but again, all runs really attributed to Giolito. Wednesday, hopefully the Sox turn the page here. It's a 6:07 p.m. game time, Chicago time. Michael Kopech returns to the hill. It'll be his 9th start. Kopeck through his first 8 starts, 1.29 ERA, 39 strikeouts in 42 innings. Remember, his last start was against the New York Yankees. It was the second game of that doubleheader sweep in New York. It was that ESPN game. Kopeck was magical that game. 7 innings, 1 hit, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, and 0 runs. Last time, though, Kopeck pitched against Toronto was August 26th of last year. Of course, it was coming out of the bullpen. He pitched 1 1/3 innings, 6 hits, 5 earned runs. Got to do better this time. It's a whole different Michael Kopech, though. As a starter, whole different situation. I'm expecting big things from Kopech, and let's see if Vaughn can continue his offensive output on Wednesday. Sox need to get back in the win column, get back to 500. Hey, folks, really appreciate you making this podcast part of your daily routine. You can find the Locked On White Sox podcast absolutely everywhere you find podcasts. We are on Twitter and Instagram at Locked On Sox. You can find me on Twitter at Nick_GGTB. Appreciate you making Locked On White Sox your first listen. Now make your second listen Locked On MLB. Paul Francis Sullivan, just call him Sully, brings you his unique perspective on the major leagues past and present. It's free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Coming up on the next episode, I'll recap Kopech's outing and hopefully be talking about a White Sox winner. Thank you so much for making time for the Locked On White Sox podcast. I'm Nick Morawski. Until next time, go Sox.